When we talk about cybersecurity, a lot of us picture building a fortress, right? High walls, deep moats, guards on patrol. But what if I told you that even the most impressive-looking fortresses are often designed to fail? Today, we're going to talk about how to build a digital fortress that can actually stand up to an attack using two key strategies: threat modeling and risk management.
I mean, it's the question that should keep anyone in security up at night. You see it in the news all the time. Huge companies with massive security budgets getting hit with these catastrophic breaches. They've got the best tech, the smartest people. So what's going wrong? What are they missing? And honestly, the answer is all about their mindset. They're building for a peaceful day, not for an all-out war. A reactive security plan is like only figuring out how to repair the castle walls after the catapults have already smashed them to pieces. Real security means you plan for the attack. You assume the enemy is already at the gates, looking for a way in. And that's exactly why just reacting is a losing game. Because by the time the alarm bells are ringing, the damage is already underway. We have to completely flip our thinking, from defense to offense, from reaction to prediction. This is where our first tool, threat modeling, comes into play. And the most important word here is before. This isn't a patchy slap-on at the end. It's a process for finding and fixing security flaws way back in the design phase, when it's cheapest and easiest to do. It's all about thinking about the attack before you've even written a single line of code. So how do you actually do that? Well, you have to stop thinking like the person building the system and start thinking like the person trying to tear it down. You have to look at your own creation and ask yourself, okay, if I wanted to break this thing, how would I do it? And listen, this is not a one and done kind of thing. It's a cycle, a loop. As you see here, you design something, you detect threats, you correct them, and then you verify that your fix has worked. And that verification feeds right back into the next design, making it a circle of constant improvement. So let's just walk through that cycle real quick. It all starts with design. You have to map out your system. You can't defend what you don't understand. Next up is detection, and this is where you actively go hunting for weaknesses. Then you move into correction, where you plan out exactly how you're going to fix those vulnerabilities. And finally, verification. You have to make sure your fixes actually work and, didn't create a whole new set of problems. And then you start the whole cycle over again. Now for that all-important detection step. You can't just stare at a diagram and hope for the best. You need a method, a system, and that's where a framework like Stride comes in. You can think of it as a hacker's checklist of all the bad things someone might want to do to your system. Let's break STR down. S is for spoofing. That's just pretending to be someone you're not. T is for tampering, maliciously changing or deleting data. R is for repudiation. This one's sneaky. It means doing something and then being able to convincingly deny you ever did it. I is for information disclosure, your classic data leak. D is for denial of service, which is all about crashing the system so legit users can't get in. And the big one, E, is for elevation of privilege. This is the attacker's jackpot, getting in as a low-level user and finding a way to become the super admin with the keys to the entire kingdom. Okay, so you've used Stride, and now you have a list of potential threats. It could be dozens, maybe even hundreds. You can't fix everything all at once, so how do you decide what to tackle first? This is where threat modeling passes the baton over to its partner, risk management. And that brings us to this simple but incredibly powerful formula. See, risk isn't just about a threat existing. It's what happens when a threat is able to exploit a vulnerability multiplied by the potential impact of the damage. Getting this is the key to focusing your energy where it's going to matter the most. And let's be absolutely crystal clear on the difference here. The threat is the army marching toward your fortress. The vulnerability, on the other hand, is the unlocked side gate they find. You can't always control the threat, but you are 100% responsible for finding and locking that gate. To help quantify all that risk, we can use another handy framework called DREAD. It basically helps you score each threat by asking a few simple questions. First, what's the potential damage, and how many affected users are we talking about? Then you think like the attacker. How reproducible is this attack? How exploitable is the weakness? And how easy is it to discover? You score these things and you get a clear number that tells you exactly which fires you need to put out first. So, how do you make this all sustainable? Finding threats and prioritizing risks is a fantastic start, but the world is always changing. Your security can't be a one-time project. It has to be more like a constantly spinning flywheel, always improving itself. And the engine that keeps that flywheel spinning is a concept known as the PDCA cycle, or the Deming wheel.
It's a really simple 4-stage loop for continuous improvement that works perfectly for security. Here's how it works. First, you plan your security strategy. Then you do the work, you actually go and implement everything. After that comes the most important step. You check your work. You run audits, you test things, you see if what you did is actually effective. And based on what you find, you act. You make corrections and improvements, which feeds right back into your next plan. The wheel just keeps on turning, and your security gets stronger with every single rotation.
So let's bring this all back together. We started this talking about building a fortress, and now we've covered the blueprints, the tools, and the long-term maintenance plan. So what's the one thing you really need to take away from all this?
It's this powerful combination. Threat modeling is your lookout in the watchtower, spotting where the enemy could attack. Risk management is your general on the ground, deciding which walls need to be reinforced first. And that continuous cycle makes sure your fortress is always evolving. You just can't have one without the other.
And so that's the final question I want to leave you with. A fortress that looks strong but hasn't been designed with the attacker in mind, that hasn't had its risks calculated and its defenses constantly tested, well, that isn't really a fortress at all. It's just a facade, waiting for the first real push to come crumbling down.